listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the only one media group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities and special guests. Hosted by Dini-Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Good morning and welcome to the Vigilantes Radio. So today we break a record. It's like 5 a.m. here, and this is the earliest we ever done a show, right? Oh yeah, so we love setting records and breaking records, and today just happened to be one of those days, right? So thinking is hard work, which is probably why so few people ever attempt it. It is much easier to simply react than to accept someone else's vision, to go along with conventional wisdom, to keep making the same mistakes over and over again. A successful life demands some thinking. That means carefully considering options, projecting your actions into the future, and applying proven concepts to your own unique situation. Creating strategies. This may sound like heavy stuff, yet you don't need a fancy graduate degree to do it. All you need is more reasonable common sense. That and the willingness to tackle the job of thinking for yourself. As you go through your day, notice how much or how little you actually think about what your actions are on autopilot. How much do you do because that's the way you've always done it? Make it a point to stop and think every once in a while. Think about why you do the things you do, where your actions are leading you, what you could do to be more effective. The reluctance of, to think is a trap. It forces you to work in the service of someone else's dream and to settle for less than you're capable of achieving. The desire for easy answers enslaves too many people to live like lives of mediocrity, The way out of the trap is to think for yourself. Have the courage to ask the hand questions and work to find the answers. Make a commitment every day to do the mental work that will lead to growth and achievement. Put some thought into your life and you'll rise high above the crowd. Like seriously, you gotta take time to think. And I think today is a perfect day to do that, Now, I'm not saying that you don't think. I'm just saying, like, how often are you on autopilot? Because you maybe do the same thing over and over every day. Maybe it's, work. It's something you're used to. Maybe you're driving a certain route, and that's just something you're used to doing every day, So let's just try it. Take that from me, dini-mussolini. That is my word, and word is bond.
You're live in the mix. Let's get this started.
Yo, hello and welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Music or Inside the Book. Inside the Business, where we dive into the minds of the people who create marvelous things. It feels so good to be back with you guys once again. So one time for my people who are indigos, crystalline or starseeds, or for my Vigilantes audience family, and 2 times for my people who are vegetarian or vegans. If you're like me, we are averaging over 37 1,000 live listeners, and we've been at this for 4 solid years. I appreciate all you guys who've been rocking with the kid on this journey, and we are still evolving, baby. It is all because of you, most definitely. We are the people who have dedicated their lives to music, spirituality, business, literature, art, movies, and research in every aspect, and we want to allow you an opportunity to tell your story. Man, we've had celebrities on our show, from Grammy Award-winning artists to nominees to actors, comedians, CEOs, technology geniuses, visual artists, from authors to professors and aliens. Or people think they're aliens. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Come on our show and talk to me. So check it out. To book an interview or just to share a real cool story, email me at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. And that's V as in Victor. I'm passionate about what I do, just as passionate about what you do, and together, yes, together, we can get your voice heard by the people who should hear it. So let's create something incredible. You know the number to dial, 701-801-9813. Text that number to your buddy right now and tell them to tune in to connect with us or our guests, or you can hop in the mix directly from our website, onlyonemediagroup.com. Right from the homepage, you can slap that go live button and you'll be right here live in the mix and in the chat room with all of us. Feel free to shoot over some questions to ask our guests while they are here, but only as time permits. Sometimes my guests and I talk entirely too much and we take up the entire hour. And as always, all episodes are available for free download, and you can grab that from either Spreaker.com/Only One Media Group, iTunes, YouTube, or any app from the Google Play or iTunes Store, or over at our website. And that goes for every single episode that we've ever aired.
Well, this morning's interview is the Cogsworth Interview, and again, I'm your host, Dini. Unfortunately, in our pre-recorded episodes, the conference is locked, so you actually can't join the conversation. Sorry, but yeah, you can always catch, the playback, right? Okay, so we are the people who have dedicated their weekdays and nights to music, films, news, business ventures, conspiracies, and just talk in every aspect. From our incredible promotion here on our new Facebook page, by the way, go over there and like the page, just slap the like button, and you'll find us over at Vigilantes Radio. Or, right now, like our interview and music show called Vigilantes Radio, or the All Music Hour, or the Dive into Relationships, money, music, business theory, spiritual living on our show called Skeptics. We spend each and every day giving our maximum effort to create a vibrant, exciting, indie, and professional community for all creative minds that coexist in this beautiful artistic world. Our special guest today is none other than boris-gefter, the CEO and founder of Cogsworth, or better yet, the head man in charge. So we're interviewing him today. Let's go ahead. Hey, Boris, how's it going?
Good, man. I love the introduction that you gave, and I love what your podcast is about. It actually coincides quite nicely with my own interests, which I'm music, I'm learning piano, I play a bit of guitar, and I love the philosophical spin you have on freedom and kind of maximizing liberty. It definitely jives with me.
Oh man, thank you very much, and that's nice to hear. So you're learning the piano and guitar?
Yeah, well, I've played guitar, just messed about with it as a dilettante for many years, but piano I've dedicated properly the last 3 years to learning it with an online teacher through Skype, and we've been doing it for like 3 years, and I log each and every practice session that I have, and right now I'm up to 300 hours or something like that. And it's that Malcolm Gladwell rule where it takes 10,000 hours to be a master of something, so I'm slowly chipping away at that goal.
Wow, man. I can't wait till you reach the end there and become a master pianist, right?
Yeah, well, it's a journey. Like one thing I've learned, this is like nothing about Cogsworth, but one thing I've learned with piano is that because I kind of started and stopped a couple of times. It's treated less like a destination and more like the experience of learning. It's a lifetime pursuit.
Yeah.
And if I keep thinking of it as like I want to do this, I want to do that, I kind of miss the point of the exercise.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Experience.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Finally, first of all, welcome to our show. Let's start off with telling me about yourself and how Cogsworth was born.
Yeah, I like that you use the term "born" because it was truly a labor of love, but nevertheless a really painful labor. It's been like a year and a half in the making, and it had like 2 abortions or slash miscarriages. I tried to build it twice in different technologies, and it failed the first time because, depending on how technical you want to get, but I tried to build like a WordPress plugin, and that fails. It wasn't rich enough. It was too buggy. The second time I tried to build it a different way, and that failed. And meanwhile, I'm funding all of this. And then the third time it finally took because I tried to address a lot of the issues that had caused the previous 2 projects to fail. And I hired a guy that I'd worked with for many years to kind of learn this new technology that we were using. And in the end, we ended up building the 3rd version, and the version that you would see right now if you were to go to cogsworth.com within about 6 months. And since then, we're working on another iteration of Cogsworth that is compliant with new European privacy standards and laws, and is just a much more stable platform and just a better experience as well. So Cogsworth was truly a labor in that sense. But the way that I came up with it was I used to run Australia's largest wedding website called The Knot, and I believe you guys have The Knot in the States as well. Mm-hmm. And what we used to do was we used to provide leads to wedding vendors around Australia. So, for example, say you were a celebrant, or a photographer, a videographer, you would get a lead from us when a bride would come to us and say, "Hey, I'm in Sydney and I need these 3 services." And so they would start quoting the bride, and off the service would go. What I found that would happen is that a lot of the vendors wouldn't be able to service the leads that we gave them, or weren't able to convert them. And after digging and digging, I realized, by asking them as well, that one of the major reasons for them not being able to take on the leads we were giving them was because they were just not available at the time. Or the time that the bride had in her mind wasn't exactly the time that they had available in their calendars. And so the first time that I tried to address this issue, I tried to build a CRM. And a CRM is a customer relationship management tool, which is really used by corporates. It's not used by small businesses. And it failed. People just didn't want it. Like, if you're a photographer, if you're a videographer, you're like a 1- and 2-man band, you don't really care about sales or like a process of selling. I was trying to go about the wrong way. And so once that failed, I started to think about what eventually became Cogsworth, which was just a really simple service that allowed people to say, "Hey, this is my availability. This is the sort of service that I offer. You can book time with me. It syncs with my calendar, and I don't have to talk to you. You can just see my availability. If you like me, just book me." And that's what we've built. And it has applications from B2B businesses, or if you're like a hairdresser, for example, and you have customers that want to book a hairdressing appointment with you, they can just do that without having to talk to you. And there's a lot of like cool stuff that comes out of that, but I'm sure we'll get into that. I've been rambling for quite a while now.
No, that's good. That's good though. And I like that, even after two failures, and I hate to use that word. I like to say two experiments. You know, you finally found, you know, the purpose, I guess you can say, for the type of business that you wanted to build. But what was that inspiration for Cogsworth? What inspired you to create the company?
Yeah, there's a couple of different, there's a couple of things that drove me to it. I think philosophically, I really love the idea of solving like time inefficiencies. I find that a lot of people just generally don't use their time really well. And that's particularly pronounced in businesses. Like, you know, as a day job, I consult, like I have a consultancy and I consult a bunch of businesses around Australia. And whether you're, you know, just a junior salesperson or an accountant or a clerk, I find that people fall into routines that are not really mindful. And this kind of goes to what you were saying at the introduction of your podcast. You know, people just like to do things because that's the way they've always been done, instead of thinking, well, maybe I could automate this. Maybe I could make this better. Maybe I could save myself, you know, 2 hours of manual labor a week. And people just don't think that way. And it's upsetting to me because it means that, you know, the business owner, and more often than not, the people that run businesses are business owners, not just some anonymous like public boards. They're like paying for that, not just with direct, with like money wasted in terms of like salary or whatever, but they're paying because the business is like is losing out in a race against other businesses that may be doing that. So, you know, scheduling is one of these things which is, to me, a no-brainer. Like, no business should be wasting time, you know, talking to customers about when you can coordinate schedules. You should just be able to do it instantly and easily. And it's not just with businesses either. It's like when you're talking on an email thread with somebody and wanting to set up a meeting or like a podcast call, you should just be able to send a link and just go, hey, you know, this is my availability, book me. And bam, and that's the way it should go. So, so that's what inspired that. And you know, from another perspective, I've always been passionate in I've been passionate in maximizing like my freedom and my autonomy. I haven't had a day job in several years. I've kind of been consulting, and I have a rule of thumb that I only work with clients that I really like and love, because I find that we have a greater alignment of incentive that way. And I always try to do things that I'm passionate about, that I enjoy. And building software is really, really challenging. It's difficult, not to mince words, but it's also something that's really deeply rewarding, because to me it means you're kind of melding like the world of making something better, but by understanding how humans do it, and systemizing it, and just making the process more seamless. So they're the kind of things that have inspired me to work on Cogsworth.
Okay, Boris, you have me thinking now, and you know that's ironic because that's what I talked about in intro. But Vigilantes-Radio, we use a scheduling system, but you mentioned something that I didn't think about before, and that was sending a link to have like guests and clients book their own time. And that's not available like with the current one that we use. So
there you go. I may have just won a client.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking here like, maybe this interview is for me too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say, or like to point out the defining characteristics of Cogsworth compared to other scheduling systems?
Yeah, so it all started with one thing. There are a lot of scheduling software solutions out there, but in my humble opinion, they're all crap. And the reason that I think they're crap is because they don't optimize for their main purpose, which is to maximize appointments. So like if you go onto any of these scheduling systems, you'll find they're quite clunky, and it's actually hard to make appointments. So what's the point of them if they don't like convert into appointments? And then once you start looking into them deeper, you'll see that they're kind of hard to use from a back end anyway. And the reason that they're really hard to use from a back end is because they're built on really old technological stacks, and they have a bunch of users using them. And if they were to add a feature, change a feature, they risk breaking something else in their product suite for a bunch of other people, because it's really hard to test these things. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to build Cogsworth to first and foremost be a better conversion engine for appointments, and I also wanted to build it in such a way that would allow us to move a lot faster than our competitors. And like I think I validated the first point, but as to the second point, we'll see. So as we grow, as we get more users, we'll see if I can walk the walk, because right now I'm certainly talking the talk.
Yes, sir. Definitely. And I like that, I think that is quite true. The clunkiness of certain scheduling services, like the one we use, I'm pretty sure we're only using about 10% of their services. And it's not because of, we just don't understand. It's just, I think there's too many features. There's too much stuff to do. And we really just like simplicity for point A to point B. And that makes it easy to navigate, because if you're busy like Vigilantes-Radio, or we have tons of interviews coming in, we don't have time to search, the other 80% of the services. Some are good, some are just totally irrelevant. We don't really need it. So I like what you said about clunkiness of other systems, and I'm not trying to downgrade what we use now, but I'm just going off the basis of a consumer, of a consumer. So is your platform, Cogsworth, is it user friendly? Could my granny navigate through it? And what makes it so user friendly if it is?
Maybe your grandma couldn't do it, because my grandma certainly can't do it. My grandma has issues just like clicking the mouse. She if you can envisage using your entire hand/shoulder to force a click on the mouse, that's how she likes to use a mouse. And double clicking is like a feat of enormous, effort and mental energy. So, if my grandma is an example of somebody that, that could potentially use Cogsworth, then I don't think, my grandma would be able to use it. Maybe your grandma's a lot more sophisticated. For example, I know people whose grandmas use Skype and write emails and things like that. Maybe those grandmas could potentially use it, but I'd say definitely your mom, for sure. The one generation younger should be able to use Cogsworth, no problem. But having said all that, it can still be easier. I am not satisfied with how easy Cogsworth is right now. It's, don't get me wrong, I'm not resting on my laurels. I don't think that we have it right. We're constantly making changes. I think we can simplify it a ton more. We also use a bunch of technology to analyze how people use the system, and to even watch video recordings of how they use the system. And I'm getting so many really cool insights into what actually happens. So yeah, it's definitely something that I care about, and can be improved.
Okay. So I'm always interested in titles, and a lot of people don't really know what that little symbol is called. It's called a cog. And I just happen to know because I don't know, it's just weird stuff I look into. But I kind of know useless stuff, sometimes. I don't know. But where did the inspiration for naming the platform Cogsworth, where did that come from or originate from?
Yeah. So I don't know, have you ever seen Beauty and the Beast? Didn't
the new version or the old version?
Either version.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a clock in it called Cogsworth, and yeah, and like I remember just laughing at that name because it's such a hilarious name for a cartoon character. And then it kind of stuck with me, like somehow like made its way into my subconscious. And then when I was thinking of a name for this scheduling service, I looked around, and a lot of these competitors, they use like, they end in ly. Like I don't want to like name names, but they're kind of like flimsy names, and they're hard to pronounce, and they're not. Yeah, they just don't sound serious. Whereas Cogsworth really sounds like it stands for something. It's like you mentioned, has the extra benefit of having the word cog in it, because like a cog is like an essential part of the engine that drives the engine. And I think that scheduling is an important cog in a business. And I think it's actually a cog in another sense, because scheduling is like an industry almost, and I think the scheduling industry hasn't labeled itself a scheduling industry at this stage, because I don't think that like people that run scheduling services really know that they're part of a scheduling industry. But there are so many avenues of scheduling that you can go down, like whether you're scheduling casual staff, or whether you're scheduling like a construction work site, or whether you're scheduling like real estate inspections. Like I want to tackle all those elements, and I want Cogsworth to be just like the underlying technology for being able to do all of that. So yeah, it comes from those multifaceted points.
Definitely. All right, I like that. And business systems rarely grab an average consumer's attention unless, the system is truly innovative and has useful features. Now, for the typical business owner, sometimes they know exactly what their business needs. But for first-time owners or first-time CEOs who are just jumping into the online world, they normally need a little help with identifying a system that will take care of their business needs. What are some of the bells and whistles and special features that were created for Cogsworth that would help with this process on deciding if Cogsworth would be perfectly suited for their business?
Yeah, good question, man. I know that people like to get booked like directly from their signatures. So in other words, that people just don't like to do things to get bookings. So with that in mind, we built this like really simple signature builder, like a little pretty signature that you can put in the footer of your email. Mm-hmm. And we allow people to just, when they sign up to Cogsworth, to use that to create their own signature, and that includes a Cogsworth link in the signature. So when you're sending emails on a regular basis, it can just sit there, and then people can book you when they want. So that's like one of the like bells and whistles that we've incorporated. We've also created a really simple booking page, so to make it really easy for people to understand as to how to make bookings in the first place. And that speaks to what we were talking about earlier about making the conversion process from someone visiting the site to making an appointment easy. And we have a free trial, which doesn't hurt. So it's like a no risk situation for most people that are just curious about it. And I found that like with the free trial, people sign up, they can just continue to use the free version, which is like the Cogsworth Lite, and occasionally they'll sign up for the pro version, which and they just pay some money, like not a whole lot of money, and they unlock a bunch of other features. So yeah, I guess I hope that answers it.
Definitely. What are the current price points?
Yeah, so the price points are being experimented with right now. So right now we have like a $0 price point and a $39 a month price point. Now recently we got featured, we got hunted on Product Hunt, and we got we got like almost 400 upvotes, and we got a bunch of users using the site. I got a bunch of feedback, and one of the consistent points of feedback that I got was that we needed a price point between 0 and 39, and several people suggested $9 a month, which kind of makes sense to me. So we'll be introducing some new pricing tiers and making it, we're going to be experimenting with it a lot. And, a lot of people point out to me that, some of our competitors have pricing that is quite competitive as well. And to me, I don't mind undercutting competitors with price, because I'm not really, at this early stage, I'm not really after the revenue. For me, what gives me kicks is to see people using it. So people email me and they're like, hey, we can't afford it. I'm like, yeah, here's 6 months, of the pro version for free. So for me, I'm just more interested in people using it at this stage.
Definitely. Converting, people like me from one platform to your platform. It's what you're saying is more important to you.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Right. And I did, just as a kind of a tangential story, I did the rounds for about 6 months pitching Cogsworth to VCs, and I really don't like VCs. They're really arrogant people, and they kept asking me, well, there are so many systems in the space, how are you going to differentiate yourself? And then when I talk about user experience and technology and things like that, they'd be like, yeah, we've heard all that before. And I'm like, fine. Pretend for a second that there is no differentiation, right? The way I like to think about scheduling is that it's imagine you're an apple farm, and you're the only apple farmer in the States, or in a state in the United States. And then I want to start an apple farm. And then people are like, whoa, what are you doing? Dini has an apple farm. And I'm like, but the state is so big, and so many people don't eat his apples, or just apples in general. I think we can both have apples, and sell apples rather. And I think that's what's happened. I mean, I did this survey before actually commencing the Cogsworth build. I surveyed about 1,000 Australian businesses, and through Google Surveys. It's a really cool tool, by the way. And what came out of it was that only about 8% of them used any sort of tool to help them manage their schedules, 8%, and another 5 or 10%, I don't remember the numbers exactly, used some sort of paper diary or an Outlook calendar or something like that. So the overwhelming majority of people, at least that were in the survey, and I do believe that survey to be, a good representation of the market, did not use a tool. So I think that it's a really poorly penetrated space. The competition, the incumbents have done a relatively poor job of communicating the value proposition to businesses that could really, really stand to use a tool like this. So I want to tackle that challenge as well.
Definitely. Okay. My next question is, does it come with a mobile app?
Good question. The answer is no. It comes with a mobile site. It will come with an app at some point, most likely to be next year. Part of the reason that we built Cogsworth the way we built it is to allow us to spin up a mobile app really quickly. So we built it in something called React, and React is a front-end language that has like a cousin or a sister language called React Native, which we can spin up apps with. So it's just a matter of prioritizing what we're going to work on next. And if there's a ton of people that search and suddenly say to me, Boris, we need this app, we can't run our business without it, then we'll prioritize it. Right now, it's not the top priority. Right now, we have a bunch of other features and things that we need to do. But yeah, I definitely want an app at some point.
Definitely. I think that probably go a long way for a lot of mobile businesses. Which was a question that I wanted to ask, dealing with the evolution of Cogsworth. Any new features that are being released soon or that's being worked on now behind the scenes. If you could give us some exclusive info.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know how exclusive it is. I mean, it's not like Apple releasing, like a new Apple product, but hey, I'd love to think of it like that. Where, yeah, one day maybe. Unlikely, but maybe. So one of the things we're working on is group bookings. Again, a lot of these booking services just do a horrendous job of group bookings. Like if you want to organize, for example, like a holiday away with a bunch of friends, that's difficult. If you want to organize a meeting with 10 different people not in your organization, that's difficult. So, I've got some ideas on how to solve that. And it actually does boil down to user experience, because at the end of the day, if it's hard to use, people are not going to be using it. We're also going to be rolling out payments, so ability for you to accept payments online for your services. And we're also going to be doing a bunch of integrations with, like for example, there's the service called Zapier. And Zapier is a really awesome service because it is like the middleware that sits between your website and like thousands of other websites and apps. So instead of you having to say, okay, I'm going to integrate with Xero or I'm going to integrate with WordPress, you just integrate with Zapier and Zapier integrates with them. And it makes it really easy to like have a world of integrations by just doing one integration. And like Wade, who's the CEO of Zapier, has just done an amazing job with that product.
Okay. So Boris, I've heard before that time is speeding up, but of course, I think just people are. Their life is filled with so many things now that just take up time. And it's a world of fast clicks, short attention span, fast-paced life. How does Cogsworth fit into today's society of, busy, busy, busy? Go, go, go,
Yeah, it's, I think it just makes, it gives you time. It gives you a little bit more time to focus on stuff that's more important than having to negotiate, the details of someone else's diary and your diary. It's one thing to build a technology that makes people redundant. And like, for example, like say I built a robot that suddenly, cleaned much better than an average human. And then I would make, all the human cleaning jobs redundant. But it's another thing to actually just remove like terrible labor. And I think scheduling is one of those things that nobody likes to do, and it's just the bane. And I just, the philosophical mission there for me is to like free up that time so that you can, in your busy world, do other things that are more important.
Oh yeah. That'll be the cure to one of my problems. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, what else are you working on? You have any other business ventures you're working on?
Yeah. So, look, I have a consultancy, and that's how I pay the bills. And it's like a growth hacker consultancy, and I only consult like 3 clients in Australia, which are fairly large e-commerce companies. And I help them build systems, I help them market, I help them analyze, kind of do the whole gambit of things there. But I'm actually trying to focus a lot more on Cogsworth, because if I'm being really frank, I don't, with consulting you can only earn as much as however many hours you have available to give, right, because you bill by the hour. And so, and as much as I love doing what I do, it's just not a retirement plan. It's not a clever way of building like revenue that you can kind of grow continuously, because I'm limited by however many hours I'm willing not to sleep for. and in today's world, I'm really not sleeping all that much, and I really love to sleep. That's the worst part about it. So I really like the idea of having, recurring revenue and building like wealth by building a really cool product. So once you get a customer, hopefully you keep the customer, and then that customer refers other customers, and you get more customers, and so you form this baseline of revenue. So that's what I'm after, just from a personal perspective. And the other thing that I'm after, and I realize I'm going on a tangent, is to like just work with really cool people. And I'm really lucky because both my developers are just amazing human beings and really, really hard workers and really passionate about what they do. And and I just, to me, one of the joys in life is just working with amazing people. And the flip side of that coin is that I really don't enjoy working with people that are uninspired and bored/boring. It just really drains me of my life force.
Oh yeah, I can attest. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you. Yeah, it's. I guess your podcast is all about finding people that kind of have a spark or want a spark and are seeking that very same attraction. So yeah. To me, it is my drug of choice.
Yes, sir. And as I was doing my research on you, like, I found out you're a pretty smart guy. A very smart guy, yeah. You are a CRM specialist.
Yeah. I built a CRM, and I integrate CRMs for a couple of my clients. But that technological part of what I do is entertaining and enjoyable rather. But I think I really connected with your introduction to this podcast, I must admit, because I find that it's not enough to just be focused on business. It's not enough to just have a relationship. I feel like a well-balanced life, which is what I try to have, and which, sometimes I fail, sometimes I succeed. It involves like the pursuit of other things like music and exercise and, I don't know, good conversation and a good podcast. And just one of my favorite podcasts. I don't know whether it's kosher to promote another podcast in your podcast, but
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but like one of my favorite podcasts is Waking Up with Sam Harris. I don't know whether you listen to it or not, but
no, sir.
Yeah, it's such a, like, I love that guy. I support him on Patreon as well. He's definitely one of my heroes, and I find that it's like a person like that. And listening to a podcast like that, as well as a podcast like yours, really adds diversity to a day, and that stimulates the mind. And like, I can't really speak to how smart I am, but I can speak to at least what stimulates me, my brain. So yeah, that's my kind of roundabout way of like kind of accepting the compliment, but also trying to deflect it.
Yes, sir. Definitely. And you're definitely inspiring as well. Like I said, man, you're a very smart guy. Just hearing you speak about your company is very inspiring. And not everybody can think of a business system that creates residual income while they sleep or while they take piano lessons via Skype. So yeah, I think that is a very smart thing to do in today's world. I mean, a job is a job, but a business system that you enjoy building from the ground up, like you called it, labor. And once it comes to fruition, you're reaping those benefits of that hard labor. So I definitely have to take my hat off to you, Mr. Boris. And,
thank you, man.
I'll be definitely checking out the system. So you put up with a ton of rambling, which is something I'm very good at.
I think I'm rambling though. I think you were just a really gracious host. I just been.
Thank you.
I've been rambling.
So we're two ramblers. We'll get along great.
Yeah, perfect.
And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us here at Vigilantes Radio and the online world beyond. So take a moment here at the end to shout out your websites, social media links where we can find you, and mention anything else that you would have liked to mention during the interview in our traditional final spot, the Vigilantes Radio open floor. Say anything you like to, my friend. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I guess what I'd like to say is that I really put a lot of thought into Cogsworth, and I'm really proud of the team that I've built and have subsequently built Cogsworth. And I really hope that people can get onto cogsworth.com and check it out. Sign up for a free trial or just a free account. And our personal goal is to get to 5,000 users within 12 months, which I think is really, really achievable. And I'd really love people's feedback. So yeah, I'm ultimately out to create a useful product that solves some pain points in business and in your personal life. And if it can solve a pain point for you, then that'll make me really happy.
Definitely. All right. So Boris, we have another tradition, and it's called the hot seat. And for our pre-recorded episodes, we always give this option. Usually during the live show, it's not an option. It's just something that we do. But it's called the hot seat, and you can display some of your talent, Would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah, I'd love to. I actually, I prepared a poem that I really like. I'm not going to torture your listeners with like a recitation of a song or playing the piano, but I really like this poem because I think it encapsulates a lot of what you stand for and some of what we discussed today.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. It's called The Call of the Wild by Robert Service.
Awesome.
Have you gazed on naked grandeur where there's nothing else to gaze on? Set pieces and drop curtain scenes galore. Big mountains heave to heaven, which the blinding sunset blazon. Black canyons where the rapids rip and roar. Have you swept the Vision Valley with a green stream streaking through it? Searched the vastness for something you have lost. Have you strung your soul to silence? Then for God's sake, go and do it. Hear the challenge, learn the lesson, pay the cost. Have you wandered in the wilderness, the sagebrush desolation, the bunch grass levels where the cattle graze? Have you whistled bits of ragtime at the end of all creation and learned to know the desert's little ways? Have you camped upon the foothills? Have you galloped over ranges? Have you roamed the arid sunlands through and through? Have you chummed up with the mesa? Do you know its moods and changes? Then listen to the wild. It's calling you. Have you known the great white silence? Not a snow-gemmed twig a quiver, eternal truths that shame our soothing eyes. Have you broken trail on snowshoes? Mushed your huskies up the river, dared the unknown, led the way and clutched the prize? Have you marked the map's void spaces, mingled with the mongrel races, felt the savage strength of brute in every thew, and through grim as hell the worst is, can you round it off with curses, then hearken to the wild, it's wanting you? Have you suffered, starved and triumphed, groveled down yet grasped at glory, grown bigger in the bigness of the whole, done things just for doing, letting babblers tell their story, seeing through the nice veneer the naked soul? Have you seen God in his splendors, heard the text that nature renders? You'll never hear it in the family pew. The simple things, the true things, the silent men who do things, then listen to the wild. It's calling you. They have cradled you in custom. They have primed you with their preachings. They have soaked you in convention through and through. They have put you in a showcase. You're a credit to their teaching. But can't you hear the wild? It's calling you. Let us probe the silent places. Let us seek what luck betide us. Let us journey to a lonely land I know. There's a whisper on the night wind. There's a star agleam to guide us. And the wild is calling. Calling. Let us go. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I love that song.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. For sharing that with us.
pleasure.
Yes, sir. And listeners, when you get this interview, all the links are in the description of the show. So I did all the hard work for you, typed everything out, all smooth and nice. So all you got to do is click the link, and it'll take you to his website, as well as a few social media links. So check it out. Don't be a stranger. Mosey around, have a look around, and see if Cogsworth will be suitable for your business. Vigilantes Radio is going to give it a try, so I invite you to do the same thing as well. I encourage you to do the same thing as well. And for everything that needs to be done, there is always a dozen of excuses for not doing it. Doubt and fear will paralyze you if you let them. Resolve to bust your excuses by turning them on their head. Your goals, your dreams, man, are too important to be stopped by lame excuses. And yeah, those excuses are lame. Yeah. The next time you feel an excuse coming on, fight back with the list of excuse busters. I always say, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your family. And I also say, if you don't want to change your own life, inspire to change someone else's. You never know. And one of the main excuses out there is, I don't know how. Well, make an effort to learn, or it's too hard. Again, anything worth having or doing or being requires great effort. If it comes too easy, where's the challenge in that? Where's the satisfaction with saying, look what I done? What will people think? Oh man, that's an incredible excuse there. That's their problem. Let them think what they will. It doesn't matter. You heard about opinions, right? Everyone has one. Yeah, that type of thing. Or I'll do it as soon as I get back on my feet. Taking positive action towards your goal is precisely what will get you back on your feet. Rocket science. Not really. No, not really. Or the excuse, I might fail. Yes, when you try, you might fail. However, if you don't try, you will certainly fail. 30 or 40 years from that point, you will really regret not doing it, right? And just think about when you was a baby learning to walk. How many times did you fall? I know you didn't get it right on the first time. Nobody does that. You have to fall over and over again before one day or 1 minute you pick yourself up and bam, you're walking, right? Or here's my favorite excuse, actually. I'm too busy. What are you accomplishing with all that busy? Busy, busy, busy. Simply being busy gets you nowhere. Stop being so busy. Evaluate your priorities and start staying focused with directive action. Or, I don't know where to start. Envision the ultimate goal and work backwards. That's what I do a lot of times. Backward mechanics, step by step until you arrive at something that can be done right now, then do it. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with, the answer to that, one single step. Take that step and then the next one and repeat and repeat and repeat until it's done. Or my other favorite excuse, I have too many obligations. And yes, Dini does have excuses. I'm not perfect, okay? I do take my own medicine, by the way. But in order to be a service to others, you must first be true to your own purpose in life. Your obligation to yourself is what enables you to fulfill your obligation to others. What? Yes, that is very true. And lastly, the last excuse. These things will never work out. That is correct, actually. Things never do work out. You must work them out. There's a difference. The various situations you encounter provide you with opportunities, not sure bets. You must recognize those opportunities and do the work necessary to take advantage of them. Guys, you deserve the best from yourself with no excuses. Spend your energy taking action rather than thinking up excuses, because that's an action too, but in the opposite direction. take that from me, dini-mussolini. That is my word, and word is bond. Thank you again, the incredible, the genius, the smart guy, Mr. Boris-Gefter, for being our guest today. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure, man. And it sounds like a great podcast, and I wish you all the best in the world.
Yes, sir. We'll see you soon.
All right, awesome. See you guys.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab that from either Spreaker.com/only1mediagroup, iTunes, YouTube, any app that's on a Google Play or iTunes store, or our website, and that goes from every single episode that we've ever aired. If you'd like to request music or a particular guest or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. If it's music, please label it by artist and title. Here's my disclaimer. We are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, you can scratch all of that because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Nah, just kidding. On behalf of myself, dini-mussolini, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, as well as Spreaker. We always follow back. That is the number one rule. Okay, well, just remember to be yourself and be absolutely great at just doing that. Avoid being too comfortable, because you're messing with your potential when you do that. Peace, and have a good night.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.
To take your business to the next level? Well, now you can. Just visit classytechnology.com. Let us simplify technology for your business. Our services include website and business mobile app development, local SEO, business technology coaching, digital marketing, even online training courses. That's classytechnology.com. Why wait? Book your free technology consultation today by calling 734-215-7675. Put the passion back into your business and let the team at Classy Technology handle everything for you. That's classytechnology.com, the technology stylists.